With Excel VBA, you can protect all your worksheets in one split second. In this simple case, I have only 3 sheets, so I'm going to protect them all in one step. We do that in VBA. Alt F11 allows you to get there. And in Module 1, I created a subroutine Protect All Sheets. I declare a variable of the worksheet type. Then I loop through all the worksheets with a for each loop. For each OWS, which is of the worksheet type, in the collection of worksheets, next OWS. And we make sure that all the cells on the sheet we are on in the first loop and the sheet in the second loop, etc., that they are locked. Then we protect that worksheet with a few parameters. The first one is a password. I use the word secret so that no one can unprotect it without knowing the password. The rest is all optional, but I would stress that you make sure that the 5th one, user interface only, is set to true. That means the user cannot change anything on the sheet, but macros can change things. So user interface only the user interface is set as blocked, as protected. Then we show a message box that says all the sheets are protected now. If I run that macro, Control-Shift-P, then it tells me all sheets are protected now. It went through all the sheets. That can be hundreds of them. It goes very fast. For each loops are pretty quick. So if I try to change something here, it will say you cannot do that. On the next table, the same story. If I try to change something, it will not let me. So you probably also want a macro that does the opposite. So we created another sub, unprotect all sheets. You declare a variable of the worksheet type again. Then you loop through the collection of worksheets through that variable of the worksheet type. Close the loop. You unprotect every worksheet. You have to use the same password as you use to protect them. You don't have to do anything else. And then you make sure that all the cells are locked to true. And then I just added a message box that says all are unprotected now. Let's test it. Control-Shift-U. All sheets are unprotected now. If I change this ID number into 100, it will let me. We are going to make another one that is a little fancier. We are going to say we want all the formulas protected on a sheet. You probably know that when you turn protection on, it will protect all the cells, because all the cells are by default locked. So if I click on any cell, format the cells, and I go to protection, they are by default always locked. That means when I turn protection on, all the locked cells will be protected. So I have to do this only for the formula cells. So what do we do in our macro? We are going to declare a variable of the range we want, the range that selects all the cells that have formulas in it, and we declare a variable of the worksheet type again. For each OWS in worksheets, and we close the loop, we make sure that all the cells are unlocked. By default, they are all locked. Then we are going to find in all the cells only the cells of a special type of the cell type formulas. That range, which is a discontiguous range, we store in O selected formulas, which is of the range type. Set O selected formulas to all the cells of that special type. Those are the ones that we lock. O selected formulas locked true. If you want to mark them with a color, set their interior color, for instance, to Excel Gray 75. Now you turn the protection on with a password again. Make sure that the fifth one is set to true, user interface only. And to deselect all the selected cells that you had selected here in this row, we select only range A1. And we close the loop and end the sub. So in this case, we will only have the formulas locked. Okay. Control-Shift-F, and it highlighted all the formulas in here, and those are the only ones protected. So if I try to type 1 in there, it will not accept that. But this was not a formula. If I type 1 in there, it will say, okay, that's fine with me, but don't touch my formulas. You probably want to also turn that off every once in a while if you do want to change your formulas. So we created another sub, no formula protection. We have the same kind of variables again. We look through all the worksheets. We set all locking to true again. We set the color index to 0, that means take all the colors out of all cells. Unprotect the sheet. Close your loop and end sub. So this one should take care of the protected formulas. Control-Shift-N, and it took the colors out and also the locking. If I type the number 13 in there, I will lose my original formula. It is now 13 and no longer the calculation. If you want to see those calculations, you probably know that the shortcut key for that is Control-tilde. The tilde is under the escape key, and you will see these are all formula cells. So they calculate the years of seniority by using the int function, today's function minus the day we hired you, divided by 365.25, and take the integer version of it, int. That means get rid of all the decimals. So to get back to the normal view, you do Control-tilde again, and we will be back to the normal view. There are so many things you can do in Excel, and especially with Excel VBA, if you know what to do. I always call Excel VBA the most powerful tool in Excel. It allows you to do anything you want to do. But you need to know more. I just give you a few simple examples. So you have to follow quite some rules, all the details I didn't mention. So I developed for you 3 CD-ROMs and 2 books that give you a lot of tools to do things in Excel and make you a professional. You can find them at genesispc.com.